Okay, so in this video, we are going to understand how to create the user-defined function. Okay, so we are going to go with that, right? So understand like how the functions work, we have to understand in this context is that whenever you make a function, you use a def keyword in it. Okay, whenever you create a function, you use a def keyword in it that actually means as definition. So it defines the definition of the function. Okay. It is followed by the name and then a parenthesis and then a colon is there, right? So a typical syntax of this will be this one. Okay, so the def will be the keyword in here, the function name, and here will be the parameters as well as the function body, which will have all the statements, and then finally a return statement. Okay. Now, typically you do not need to have a return statement, but the body is required, and at least one line at least it is required, and also like the function name and the parameters are required. Parameters can be empty. Function name is definitely required. Body can be empty as well, but when you are using the def keyword, which is a definition of the function name along with the opening as well as closing parenthesis should be there, and the colon should be there to start the next block. Okay, so these things should be there in like making a user-defined function. So in here, there is a simple function example, as in like this one. It says like just say hello, and it prints that hello, welcome to Python programming, and then we are now calling the function in here that say hello. Okay, so this is a simple example of a function, and this is all it does. So let us just dive deep into it and see like what we can do from this in here. Okay, so let's dive deep into it. Okay, so let me just fix this one. Okay, let me just fix this one. Right. So in the previous video, I have discussed as in like how to how to typically how to make files through the terminal editor such as VI. So we are going to continue with this one, and we are going to continue with VI editor. Okay. So the function name in this is what hello world function name could be there. So we name it as hello world func dot py. Okay, we have started this one, and now whatever the function is, we will define it as this one and say oh, hello, and then we have the opening of the parenthesis and the closing of the parenthesis is there, right? And then we will print, let's say, whatever we want to print. Um, Hello, then welcome to Python program. Okay, so this is there, right? Now next is like only just defining the function and making the function's body is not enough. We have to like call the function. Okay, so calling of the function should be there. Calling of the function should be there as well, and we can just call the function just by naming naming the function definition. Okay, and then having the parentheses. If it needs any kind of arguments, we also provide the argument. However, we will not provide any colon because this is not a function definition. It is just a calling of the function. Okay, it is just a calling of the function. Now we will save this one, and we will now run this one. Okay, we will now run this one. So running of this will be your Python, and it will run. So now it prints that hello, welcome to Python program, right? So this is a simple way we can, make functions, basically, make functions. So let's go dive deep into this one, and let's continue with more in depth as in what to do regarding this one. Okay. So let's go with this one. First, we will record this whatever we did right now into VCS system, which is the Git. So Git commit. I can oh, sorry, that was the wrong command. It will be git add. We add all the files and we will now check the status. The two files are added, so we'll just write as git commit hyphen. M is for message, right? So git commit hyphen M, and the message for recording this one will be include examples of user user defined function. Okay. So this is there, right? So and if you want to like see if it is recorded properly or not. So it is recorded properly. Okay. So this is a simple way we can make functions. Okay, this is a simple way we can make functions. Again, any function will start with a def. Any function will start with a def keyword. Then it will have its name. Okay, it will have its name. So when you talk about name, right? When you talk about name, this name, this. Okay, let me just use something. Okay, so suppose if you are using this name, okay, again this one will not work. Uh, let's take something else. This one. No, this one will not work. So let me do one. Let me just get a black one. Let's try the blue one. Okay. So this say hello. This is actually your identifier. Okay. This is identifier. So this is typically your this is identifier. Typically this say hello is your identifier. Okay. This is we have to understand it. And then when we come to this one, okay, when we come to this one, so this thing, this step, okay, this step, when we talk about this step, this is typically your keyword. Okay, this is keyword. Typically, this is keyword. Okay, this def is your keyword. And then also the fact that when you talk about functions, typically, when you talk about functions, uh, usually all the parameters go in here. Parameters go in here. Okay, so in here the parameters go, and the arguments. When you talk about the arguments, arguments actually go in here. So arguments will go in here. So when it is a function definition, it is the parameter, but when you are calling the function, it is argument. This distinction you should understand because this concept will be utilized in all kind of programming languages which has function. Okay, so this distinction you need to know. Apart from this, apart from this, one more thing you need to know is that when you are making the function, okay, when you are making the function, hold on. When you are making the function, so let me get something. This is there. Okay, so when you are making the function, okay, so when you are making the function, right, you're making the function. Let me just open the previous file. Okay, this is running the previous file. My fingers are still paining, but we will go with that. When you're making the function, okay, whenever you see in Python this colon, okay, this colon you see, it means that you have to start a block. Now, to start a block, you will either use four spaces or either you will use one tab, either one or the two. So you will either use four spaces or one tab. Because if you use two spaces, it will be very difficult to understand like when the new block starts. Okay. So always four spaces or one tab to actually, start a block of code. So in here, when we talk about in here, whenever a colon comes, you should instinctive like by intuitively you should understand is that there should be after this line there should be after this statement there should be leading four spaces or leading one tag, and afterwards whatever your statement is you should write that. Okay, so that is how we understand like a code block is going to start. And typically a code block of a function is known as a function block. Okay, so that is there. So this is another thing which I have to like explain it to you. So like okay, so we will continue with next topic, arguments and parameters, in the next section. So typically I have given how to create user-defined function. I think that this will be enough. This is not that long video. Okay, yeah. So yeah, thank you for joining in. Uh, See you other time.